Okay, Greenville City Council come to order, call the roll.
Rogers.
Here.
Schmidt. Whitaker.
Here.
Brown.
Here.
Ely. Here. Godwin.
Here.
Norris.
Here. If I get everyone to stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Evening, everyone. City council members, you will know, or you know about the minutes. Are there any additions, corrections? If not, they will stand approved as emailed. Approval of the current financial report that was emailed out. I'll take a motion to accept that. So moved by Mr. Rogers to accept the financial report. Any discussion? Call the roll.
Rogers.
Yes.
Whitaker.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Ely. Yes. Godwin.
Yes.
Norris.
Yes. Okay, moving on, approval of the agenda. There is nothing to add in the agenda, so it is, I'll take a motion to approve as. So moved. Moved by Mr. Brown to approve the agenda, discussion. Call the roll.
Rogers.
Yes.
Whitaker.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Ely. Yes. Godwin.
Yes.
Norris.
Yes. Okay, moving on to public hearing. Anyone would like to come to the podium, please state your name and address and keep it to a minimum of 5 minutes. Maximum 5 minutes. Maximum 5 minutes. Thank you.
Jan Dieter, a little bit 303 East Harmon, and I have a question and then a concern. And it's about AES. Is Greenville, do they utilize them? Because I have been following this company probably the last 8 or 9 months. And it's article after article in the Dayton Daily News. And I do not like the direction they are going, especially what they tried to do over Christmas Eve. They wanted people to not use their lights. They didn't want them to use their dryers or their stoves and to turn their heat back. And like I said, I've been following this for many months, and they've already approached people in Montgomery County, telling them basically you don't have an option about these smart meters that they want to install at your home. And they interviewed several people. One lady said she didn't want it, and they did it while she was at work, and she called them and told them to come take it out, and they said no, and she wasn't allowed to mess with it. Why I bring this up is because I am concerned that they have the power. Once these smart meters are installed, they have the power to turn back your heat, to turn back your use of electric. They did it back over out west somewhere. People were using too much air conditioning, because they said it was pulling on the grid. And so I'm a little concerned if this is our only choice, what is the city going to do about that? Somebody approached me last week here in town, and they've already gotten a letter asking them to sign up for these smart meters. I don't want to be a part of it. Is there any way that we can opt out of it? Because I think of our senior citizens, because the one article that was in the paper, they had mentioned on Saturday of Christmas Eve that they were possibly going to have times where you may not have electric because the grid couldn't hold it all. But what's ironic is, to me, it's like a child throwing a tantrum, because they asked for everybody to have an additional $4 put on their electric bill. The article in the paper stated that, and the PUCO said they were postponing that until spring. And that came out in December 13th. And then lo and behold, they said the grid couldn't hold all this electric because of everybody having to turn on their heat. So what's going to happen with Greenville? Can they get away with this? Should my 80-some-year-old mother worry about it, that she could possibly have her heat turned back because this company has the power to do that? Is this the only thing that we use in Greenville, or can we opt out of it? Can we go with a different company? And that was I'm sorry.
So This is all new to me, so Ryan, I guess I kind of know a little bit about the smart meters, but I thought it was more for saving where they didn't have to send the meter reader out and it would electronically send them reading.
That's the way I understand the smart meters work as well. I don't think they can turn back your power because then you.
Switch conditioning. It stated in the paper that they said you may experience some outages because they could roll it back. And I talked to somebody at a company and they said, yes, they do have that power because they wouldn't have to send people out. They would have a main control over it.
I know we used to have someone come up to our meetings, a representative from DPNL or AES now. Is there a way we could get that representative
Absolutely.
and to kind of talk and educate council and the public? Yep.
Because if you would, they had it was on a Sunday paper where people in Montgomery County now are noticing this. And the one lady actually had her refrigerator shut off by them. And then when it kicked back on, it was a power surge and it burned it out. And she went to AES and she asked them, hey, you guys did this. And they said, no, they didn't. So, and then if you don't take the smart meters, that was also in the paper, they charge you a one-time fee, which was a little over $100. And then they charge you an additional fee every month that you don't use a smart meter. So it looks like we're being backed into a corner that we don't have a choice in this. And so I'm concerned can they really do this? And people may not be aware of this because the person who approached me this week about getting the letter, I said, this is going to affect your electric bill. That's one of the things that the people were complaining about in Dayton. Their electric bill doubled because you get charged for every ounce, if you want to call it ounce, of electric you're using, even the use of the smart meter. And so you don't have a choice. So as the city of Greenville, do we have a choice? That's all I'd like to know. Is there a route I can go so I can bail out of this before they hit me up for more money? And because it's ironic that they got told they couldn't put that $4 fee on there as soon as they were wanting it. And then suddenly they said they didn't have the grid to support everybody over the Christmas holiday and turn off your non-essential lights and all that stuff. So yeah, it's been it started back in the summer. I started reading about this and I started doing my research and it's not good.
As far as, I mean, you can shop your electric, you don't have to buy it, but AES is the one that delivers the electric.
So we could get with them doubling our bill if we choose.
So my suggestion is let's bring the AES rep in, Ryan as a contact. Yep. And let's ask some questions.
Will that be advertised so then I can collect all these newspaper articles I've been saving and I can see whether they'll address some of these concerns?
Yep, we'll put it on the agenda. Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
See what
very
kind of
good.
dates he has.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming up. Anyone else?
Good evening, Aaron Moran, 408 Park Boulevard. I'm the president of the Dark County Visitors Bureau. Just here to give a monthly update again. Dark County Visitors Bureau and Main Street Greenville have officially split as of Sunday was the date. So we have hired our own director, which is Greg Billings. We've hired him to be our full-time director moving forward. We are working on locating space in Greenville and surrounding communities to better fulfill our missions, which is again, sharing and enriching the stories and destinations of the county. And by doing that, again, we hope we be more visible and working together more closely with all the areas, including Greenville. I would expect a monthly meeting to be held with our director as well as the mayor or other identified events, destinations, and the people that are doing events to find out how we can best support them in this process as well. But we're getting moving on that. So be expecting some emails from our representative, Mr. Brown and Mayor Willman as well. Any questions anybody might have for me?
Appreciate you coming up.
Thank you.
Yep. Thank you, sir. Anyone else? Got a full house back here. All right, moving on to administration reports, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, do it now? Okay. We have a special event here to recognize a member of our police department, Trevor Robbins. I don't know if you want to, so somebody can kind of give us the background of what happened during that time. Somebody kind of make sure the steps were. That's put you on the spot, but.
On this particular evening, come to the podium, where we can see and hear you. The folks that are viewing this on the. Thank you.
This particular evening, Officer Robbins responded to Harold Unger's fire. It was a fully involved structure fire. And Officer Robbins found Mr. Unger, who was on fire himself, and put the fire out. Got him to safety and did a real good job.
Good deal, kind of kept him that day when they were working on the fire and making sure, because he had a tendency to go back. He was wanting to save some things of his own, so
Yes.
that worked out great. So I think you said something to the chief, and we have recognize him for his efforts to make sure that he was safe. So I have a certificate of recognition for Trevor. And wow. Sure, thank you. So it says, for his life-saving actions while on duty serving as a patrol officer for the city of Greenville Police Department. As mayor, it is with great pride that I attended this certificate of recognition to Patrol Officer Rollins on behalf of the city of Greenville for his exceptional performance, quick response, which ultimately saved the life of a property owner during a warehouse fire. We applaud the efforts of Trevor for putting the safety of another before his own and the assistance he continued to provide to Mr. Unger while the fire department battled the fire. So we really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming, guys. Appreciate it. Okay, I just have one other comment. I guess. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. So as far as the events going on, Main Street does have, they started to try, really have, but they're doing a first Friday all year round. So this Friday will be the first Friday of June, and from 6 to 9, scavenger hunt. So up to something like that, anybody who gets to scavenger hunt will have a certificate. So my pass.
All right, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Safety Service Director, Ryan Dell.
Thank you, Mr. President. A couple of things for this evening. One, just so everyone's aware, for our Christmas lights, again, this year, we're gonna take down all the Christmas decorations, but keep up all the lights, call them holiday lights for the next month. And then we will go all red for February for Valentine's Day, and then all green for March for St. Patrick's Day. Again, everybody really enjoyed that last season, so we're gonna go ahead and do it again. And then just a update on our drug dog situation. So the original dog that we were looking at didn't work out so great, but we met some contacts, and the trainer actually had a German wired hair pointer that was for sale. That's 8 months old, that we secured. We put a down payment on it. We have since applied for a grant through the American Kennel Club. We just received an email back, I think yesterday, that they reviewed it and they're going to send it on. It looks very promising that we'll receive that. It's an additional $7,500. The dog price is for this new dog's $5,000, and some training is involved in that. So Aaron Hall will be our officer that's going to be taking the dog and his family's all on board. Aaron will start training immediately. The hope is that the earliest we'll have Aaron and what says the dog's name, ATZ. We'll have them all trained up and ready to go within about 3 to 4 months time frame. So everything's going to be pretty quick, but I think it's going to have a very positive effect on the city of Greenville, and we're excited to get that portion going. With that, I will entertain any questions, but I will pass.
Any questions on the jug dog?
The training, like in addition to his normal weekly hours, or is that? That's
So we'll have to cover shift, obviously. It'll be a little bit of both to answer the question. So they have to do, I believe it's 100, he has to do 120 hours of training with the instructor and the dog before they're legally allowed on the road to conduct traffic sniffs. And the dog will also be trained, so it'll be trained in narcotics and tracking. So missing person or something like that, then we can track with it as well.
And the canine's how old, Brian?
8 months,
And
9 months. Thank you.
we're just gonna do the level 1, level 2, not the
No bite.
fight, okay.
A lot of bark.
Second meeting, I was an on too.
Any other questions for Ryan?
So. See, they still. Some recall. They finished it. When I was in town.
Yeah, they're all finished.
They're all finished, okay. Well, it took, I thought we should. Cost them so much money if they didn't have it done.
Right.
Get people to sign those contracts is the hard part. Sounds good in principle, but.
Finding help is hard sometimes. All right, anything else for Mr. Delk? All right, moving on to Law Director, Mike Greenman.
Thank you, Mr. Council President. Just a couple quick updates. We're still waiting on a few of the unions to come back with the signed memorandums of understanding regarding the wage increase, and then we'll have the formal approval of those. We expect it at the next meeting, so that'll I'll wrap that issue up. Everybody seems to be very well received with those, so thank you again for helping address that. I know the county came out with their increases, and so while it didn't completely match what the county did, it certainly helped blunt some of that storm. So again, thank you to council for approving that. We also had talked historically about master meters and kind of the renewed enforcement of those in regards to the trailer parks. We did just have an issue last week. The water department was out there, saw that a meter had been bypassed. This was kind of what we talked about before, the issue with the private property. It's handled locally. And so those issues haven't resolved themselves, but we're excited about that being resolved. So we're looking into it to figure out just how long they've been essentially stealing the water from the city and what we can do about that. But it was just a reminder that those issues are coming, and until we get that process fully done, it's things that we're dealing with. And then last but not least, I'd like to request from the council president to set up a committee meeting for the personnel and public relations committee. I've been working on changes to our policy manual, and I've got a lot of them wrapped up. But before we move that step forward, I'd like to meet with everybody to go over the city's policy manual, any other changes that the committee has in mind, and kind of go over that and move forward. So
When would you like that back?
Whatever you would like, there's no pressing issue with that. And so there's no hard deadline. Just at the beginning of the year, it's nice to get it on the calendar so we keep moving forward.
Okay. So you said committee of personnel and public relations.
That's
So
correct.
that's Brian Brown, your chairman, Dolores, vice chair, and Chris, member. Let's have that due back the first meeting in March. That gives us 4 council meetings, basically.
Sounds good.
Okay.
How many committee meetings do you think, just one or?
Yeah, I think we do one. The biggest thing is it would be beneficial for you to review the personnel manual before, and it's going to be a lot of kind of homework time, perhaps, hopefully not discussion time, because it makes sense.
And so do we have a current, where do I get a current copy?
Yep, then we can get you a copy.
Thank you.
Anything else?
And that is all.
All right.
I'll entertain any questions.
Any questions for our law director? All right, thank you, Mr. Freeman. City Auditor Roxanne Woolman.
Thank you, Mr. Council President. I have several items this evening. First of all, early this year, I think it's been earlier than normal, we received the request for the financial disclosure statements for everyone. At the end of the meeting, I will pass out a copy for everybody. So it's online right now and you can fill it out. It's not due until May 15th. But I find if you do it earlier, you tend not to forget about it. So
Don't be late.
candidates, yes, yes, correct.
I did too.
So you're a little early.
But
The next item, I had planned to pass out the budgets this evening, but we hit a little bit of a snafu. But later on this week, we will be calling you, notifying you to come in and pick up your copy so that you've got ample time to review before we have our meeting, which I believe is on the 24th.
Yep.
So that's coming very shortly. Like I said, we will be calling you later this week to stop by and pick your copies up. And last but not least, I would like to request a committee assignment for the following, to review wages for the clerking of city meetings. That would be the finance committee.
Yep. So a request for a committee assignment for finance committee. That would be Doug Schmidt, chairman, Jeff Whitaker, vice chairman, and Leon member. When would you like that back?
Maybe by the second meeting in February.
Okay, so February the 21st. We could get that back. And that is to review
The
clerk.
wages for the anyone who clerks city meetings.
Okay, so that would be
But you-
city council or planning and zoning meetings. Okay.
Those.
All right. Any questions for Roxanne? All right, thank you, city auditor. Moving on to committee reports, there are none. Ordinances and regulation or resolutions. We have one, it's a resolution authorizing safety service director to enter into contract with J&K Communications.
A resolution authorizing the safety service director to enter into contract with J&K Communications Incorporated for the rendering services related to police department communications. This resolution authorizes the safety service director to enter into contract with J&K Communications for the rendering of services for police communications.
Make a motion to suspend the rules on this resolution and read it by title only, second and third time.
Then moved by Mr. Godwin to suspend rules, give this resolution second, third reading by title only. Discussion? Call the roll.
Rogers.
Yes.
Whitaker.
Yes.
Brown.
yes,
Ewing.
Yes.
Godwin.
Yes.
Norris.
Yes.
A resolution authorizing the safety service director to enter into contract with J&K Communications Incorporated for the rendering services related to police department communications. A resolution authorizing the safety service director to enter into contract with J&K Communications Incorporated for the rendering services related to police department communications.
To adopt. Moved by Mr. Whitaker to adopt. Discussion? Call the roll.
Rogers.
Yes.
Whitaker.
Yes.
Brown.
yes,
Ewing.
Yes.
Godwin.
Yes.
Norris.
Yes. That completes our ordinances and resolution or new business, we have none, old business, we have none. Council representing outside committees, architecture review board.
Yes, in the last couple of months, we've approved signage for the following businesses on Broadway, Main Mall, which Glenn mentioned last meeting, the little 311 South Broadway, and also a new business at went into the Big Wheel building next door to Sadie Grace, Whistling Sand Creams. It's a nice little shop that I went into and visited, and it's a nice store at 532 South Broadway. And in December, we approved signage for the Pregnancy Health Center at 544 South Broadway, and the Remax location at 316 South Broadway. There's been no requests or submissions or applications for any new signage this month, so the Architectural Review Board will not be meeting this month. So our next meeting will be the second Tuesday of February, which I believe is the 14th. Also bringing the discussion at the last several Architectural Review Board meetings has been possibility of having some wayfinding signs downtown, directing people to the various businesses, and there's a lot of discussion going on there, and there'll be a presentation for council to consider at some point whenever that comes up. So just a little heads up on that. Okay. With that, everybody's got any questions? Thanks.
Thank you. Communications?
We received the monthly report of December from the Income Tax Department.
It's a quick meeting. Call council.
Rogers?
Yeah, I'd like to commend the officer for helping this gesture. And thanks everybody for coming up. Well, some of them have already left, but at least they got supporting the fellow officer, and appreciate that. I think we're seeing many things out of the police department. Thanks for jumping in there. With that, I pass.
Whitaker?
Want to wish everybody a happy new year. Thanks to all the department heads for coming tonight, like I usually do. Our council is very pleased with the way all the departments have come together and working together. And I've been hearing a lot from the people as I've been talking to them, and very pleased about the way the city's being run, and it's running smoothly. And Ryan, you're doing a great job, and we just need to keep it up. Want to express my pleasure with hearing more of the news of getting the police job. I think that's going to have a pretty saving those that might want to traffic drugs in this area. Maybe take another look, go somewhere else. I like what's going on with that. So with that, I pass.
Brown?
Just echo the same thing as far as with the patrol officer. Again, with the drug dog, I think, police department's going in a great direction. Nice job, chief. It is nice having everybody out here in the audience. I don't know if it's the Corey dog jokes to get people to come back or what it is, but it was certainly nice not to be talking to ourselves. So with that, I pass.
Ely?
Yes, I just want to wish everybody a happy new year. And I want to add that the last week or so, I've been walking around in my ward for obvious reasons. But I've talked to a lot of people, and I had a lot of positive comments about the direction that the city's going. And there were lots of compliments for council members for being willing to serve and to get in there and to work out things and the one thing that one person said, it was nice that somebody listens when we talk. And I want to thank you for attending and bringing some matters to our attention, because if you don't bring it to our attention, how are we going to be able to respond to you? And after council, I would like to get some more information from you so I can do some research myself. And with that, I pass, sir.
Godwin?
I'd like to start off, thanks for everybody coming up, and I'd like the officer, that's a real nice gesture for doing what he did, and Greenville Fire Department for putting the fire out and keeping Ted out of the building. And it could have been more. From the videos that I seen that night, it looked like the whole block was on fire. And when I drove back by it the next day, and it was just contained to one building, which was pretty good. So with that, thanks for everybody for coming up, and I'll pass.
Norris?
Yeah, thanks to the fire and the police department. That was an awesome job down there, and nice breezy night, if I recall. And Eric, thanks for your promoting the officer, or not promoting, but bringing him for accommodation and work on the K-9. I would like to also welcome all of the new transit employees, from the assistant director to the drivers, to the dispatchers, which are now under the auspices of the city of Greenville. And Happy New Year to everyone. With that, I'll pass.
President Baumgartner.
It's always go last and it's like everyone steals my thunder. So. So great job, the police department. I've known Ted Unger for by about most of my life, so having that officer there to help him out is really big. So that's really cool to do that. Fire department, great job getting that fire out. And it's so true, because that was flaming, and how we didn't have damage to neighboring properties is crazy. And then Happy New Year's, everybody. And with that, I pass and move to adjourn by Mr. Rogers. Call the roll.
Rogers.
Yes.
Whitaker,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Ely,
Yes.
Godwin,
Yes.
Norris.
Yes.
Evening, everyone.